Why would a poet prefer to perform their pieces instead of, just having others simply read it in a collection of poems, such as you have the 5 or 6 that you've already created? Why would they want to get up and perform it for other people?
Well, the first really sad thing in the world is, like, people don't read as much as they used to.
Wow.
All the people that I know who collect poetry books are poets, and I think that, when you're in front of an audience and you're able to speak your poem or your truth and find out where you connect with the people in the audience, that it may spark that, well, maybe I want to go and read some poems now, or maybe I want to do my own poem. I think everybody's a poet.
Okay.
But not everybody has the words, or not everybody has
the skill set, maybe,
or everybody has the courage to get up and pretty much fillet themselves on stage for random strangers. But in that, I find where our stories meet.
So why is poetry so important to you? Why is this medium so important to you?
A lot of the importance, surely just being able to, share your emotions, connect with other people, but also, it kind of, all this stuff still kind of goes back to not being invisible. And
I understand that.
And understanding that, I am pretty good at what I do as far as...
You're great at what you do. What are you
poetry.
talking?
When you are brought up by people who their mission is to serve a community, as a poet, that's what I do. I serve a community of people. So it's kind of my job to share my stories, find out where our stories meet, so that I can continue to do that. It fulfills me in a way to where I know that regardless of, race, religion, gender, whatever, sexual orientation, we are all human at base, and it allows me to connect with my fellow humans in a way that not everybody can do. So I feel unique in that space where I'm able to do this thing. You're able to connect with me. We are able to have a conversation afterwards, and the conversation continues.
Yes. Yes.
So it's very important for me to own my voice and to be able to share my voice with as many people who can, stomach hearing me.
Yes, absolutely. I say all the time that music is a universal language. I think poetry is too, because I think music is poetry in motion most of the time. Oh, yeah. And I think it is a thing that brings us all together, our words and sounds. And, I think everyone can relate to that kind of energy no matter where they are, as all the different diverse places that we live. I think it's very important to have that kind of platform to be able to say the words that, I think the more personal the story, the more relatable it is universally to everyone. And I think it's so brave for a person to get up and do a piece that authentic in front of people.
And also that whole idea of being able to be very genuine in why you're doing what you're doing. Because I think people can, the world that we're living in now, there's so much disgenuine out there. Yes. And I think that when you are doing work from your heart, you're allowing yourself to be vulnerable. You're allowing people to come into your life. Then, maybe that's going to soften us up to the point where we can get into each other's life and not be so afraid. Yes. Of our power, of our voices,
of our differences,
of our stories, be them sad or great or whatever, but we all need to hear that,
We have to take a break, but when we come back, I'd like to discuss your upcoming projects, including Simon Says, and I'd like to share right now one of your pieces with the Satin Lounge. This one is that we mentioned earlier is called Why Do I Do This? It's by our special guest for Pillow Talk, THERESA Davis. Stay with us. You're listening to the Satin Lounge with Kia Renee.
Why do I do this? I have to stop. Consider my answer. I'm not one to run away from hard questions when asked directly. There was a time when no one asked. And back then, I was sitting on the edge of my existence, waiting for anyone to ask me anything like why I do this. Once upon a time, I buried myself in nearly 300 pounds of flesh, closed my ears to art, my heart to compassion, settled myself in complacency and automaton. I walked through my life functional. I rocked my jobs, the extra pounds. They gave my children, my students, more to hug. I did my duties. I cooked the meals, did the homework, read the stories, played Tooth Fairy and Santa, then tucked 3 parts of myself into bed at night and in the dark. I cried, fetal position, tears. I did this for years. No one asked, why do you do this? I take that back. My father, he once asked me a question, something innocuous like, so, how you doing? My response would shrug of a shoulder, elicited a storm in the form of words so palpable that today they still burn the roof of my mouth. Theresa, why are you doing this? Your mother and I, we taught you better than this. Love who you want to love. Live your goddamn life and stop trying to disappear. Don't you know I can see you? This Rasta Prophet redemption song to me challenged me to take back my life, pick up a pen, and write his final words to me, and to make sure I understood. A week later, a massive stroke split his brain in 3 parts. 14 grandchildren lost their foothold on the universe. 6 children lost their focus. A mother lost her soulmate, and for penance, for my deliverance, I was forced goddess in the face of losing the one man in my life I knew without a doubt. I knew he loved me. Theresa, what do we do? Being the oldest, never felt so responsible. He's not here. He wouldn't like this. Take him off the machines. Forever changed I am. Why do I do this? Within 3 months of his passing, I burst from a cocoon half my size because I stopped letting 150 pounds of guilt ride my back. I took up the company of parchment, decided I'd let my words flow ink over any who would hear them, and I vowed that I would never again get caught up in previous investment traps that were not in my interest. So I stand on stages, my voice in a mic, to remind myself to never try to disappear again, because he can see me. Can you see me? And that's why I do this.